Hey there, friends. Welcome to your weekly build discussion on a new project. We're actually going to crank this thing out here pretty quickly. It's a fairly straightforward project, a lot of hard lines and nice geometry. This is about maybe less than a day's worth of work so far. It's the DOOMHAMMER from World of Warcraft. Classic World of Warcraft comes out this month. And we have been working with the folks from Joann's who got foam put in their stores. Our friend Yaya Han has been busting her butt literally for years to get good EVA foam like this in stores that you can just go to and buy. The Joann's that's like 10 minutes from our shop has EVA foam in it, big sheets like this. A big old display with Yaya on it, a bunch of different thicknesses. I think they had 10, 5, and 2 millimeter, and then 3 different thicknesses of foam dowels, which we have some of them right here. And we've been using those on this project. So the idea was, let's find a really great project that we could do using EVA foam, specifically using Yaya's EVA foam. So I cooked up this idea. I've always wanted to make the DOOMHAMMER. My pal Harrison over at Volpin Props made one 8 years ago. His was all resin, big old plastic one, painted really well, of course, because that's what Harrison does. But I wanted to make my own out of foam because I love foam, and it was a great way to utilize these fantastic foams from Joann's. So we got some foam. Yeah, everything except for the PVC pipe is going to be foam, which is wonderful. It also means it's super light. Now I still have a couple more things to make. I've got to wrap the handle in like a faux leather. There are a couple of rivets to add and some details up here I need to do. And then of course the big faces that go on the end of our hammer. So I still have those pieces yet to do, but I've made a bunch of progress. And I'm curious how much it weighs because it is very lightweight. Oh, 0.73 pounds, so it isn't even 1 pound. Fully finished, I imagine it'll probably clock in at just over a pound, which is nothing. And I love it because you can wave it around like crazy. And I can pretend like I'm a giant orc, and once it's all painted, it'll look like it's made out of metal and leather, and it should be heavy, but it won't be because it's foam. It's almost cartoonish, like Donkey Kong, well, Super Mario, or Jumpman in Donkey Kong. Talking about the original kids. Yeah, so I've been having a whole lot of fun putting this together. It's gonna be a shorter build, nice break from the Fat Man. That was a very long build. So we're doing a kind of a shorter one, but it's really great to kind of go back to my, my roots and just crank out good old fashioned foam project. And that's what this is. Really straightforward construction. Made a box, put a pipe through it, added a lot more detail on top of that box. It's quite sturdy. Really, really sturdy. The foam is fantastic. It's everything you would expect from Yaya. Really good stuff. Most of the construction has been done with contact cement, but I did some reinforcing on the inside with hot glue just to make sure everything is really sturdy. Once this is capped, I won't be able to get in here. In fact, this isn't even glued in yet. I'm gonna wait until the handle's all done so that I can work on this separate from the hammer head before I have to glue it in. But I'm almost ready to glue that in, although I'm gonna carve some details on here, so it'll be nice to have that separate. But it fits in here nice and snug, like that. Swing it around like a crazy person. Up, that's upside down. Make sure I don't do that when I glue it. I wrote in here top and bottom, just to make sure that I don't glue it in upside down. I'm always leaving notes like that to myself because I know I'll forget. For this one, I've got a pattern that I made. It's just a side view. I made the box equidistant or square, so this dimension is the same length as the depth of it. This will, of course, be free when I put out the full build video, so you can download this and print it out and make your own, because that's what I love doing. I love seeing you guys make cool things that I make. And this one I think is going to be a really fun, sort of a beginner challenge. Not a ton of foam. I got a sheet of 2 millimeter, 5 millimeter, and 10 millimeter, and that should be more than I need to make the whole thing. And I'm sure I'll have lots left over. In fact, it's probably enough to build 2 of them. And something I want to do a little differently at the end of this build, I've been keeping my scraps, or most of my scraps anyway, and I'm only working from these 3 sheets, so we'll be able to see how much of the foam is left over, if that seems like information that people would be interested in hearing. A lot of times I don't keep track of how much foam I use. I have a massive pile of foam over there that seems to be never ending. In fact, Joanne sent us a bunch more of this foam too. So we always have way more foam than we need. So I never track how much I end up using, but I want to do that for this project because people seem to ask that pretty frequently whenever I finish a build. How much foam did you use? So I'll have that information as well. And I also want to show the scraps, everything I have left over, because a lot of those scraps I end up keeping. They're big enough to still use on a future project. So yeah, that's so far what I've got done on the DOOMHAMMER. The rest of the foam fabrication should be done very soon, and then we'll be getting to painting next week. And it should be done next week too, which is very exciting. And surprise, this video is coming out on the 12th. We won't be waiting a full month on this build. We're cramming in an extra build in this month so that we can spread the word about Yaya's foam. That's gonna do it from me, from the shop this week. Thanks as always for tuning in, hanging out with me in the shop. I appreciate it. I appreciate the support too. You guys really make all of this possible for us. You play a huge role financially in making this possible, and we could never thank you enough, but I sure can try. So thank you, and please keep it up because we need you. And we sure love doing this, and I really love sharing these projects with you. It's Friday, so I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I'm gonna have a great time, and I can't wait to finish this project.